Hello, High Commissioner. Good to have you back on our program.
Hi, Vashi. Great to see you.
I appreciate you making the time. Of course, I want to ask you about what the government under the new Prime Minister might look like, but I have to start off with some economic news that the British pound today in afternoon trading in London fell to its lowest level, I believe, since 1985. What is your message to allies about kind of steadying the ship against that backdrop?
Well, Vashi, as you said, we've just appointed a new Prime Minister, and she said that she'll be making an announcement tomorrow in the Houses of Parliament, an energy statement about how she's going to be tackling some of the cost of living issues. And she's also said that within the coming weeks she'll set out her economic framework. So I think anybody who's looking for reassurance will be getting that quite soon with a clear statement of her intent. She's also said very clearly that her top priority as Prime Minister is going to be to really kickstart our economy and to really drive investment and make it a great place for British businesses. So I'm confident that people will get the reassurance that they're looking for in the coming days.
Are you concerned that that kind of a plan might be coming too late? And I only ask you because of, for example, the dollar, or the pound rather, seeing what happened to it today. Is that concept of reassurance, is it, I guess, even more challenging given what we're seeing unfold?
No, I don't think so. Our economy's performed pretty well coming out of the pandemic. We were the largest growing economy in the G7 last year. We're the second largest growing this year, second only to Canada, I should say. And the IMF predicts that by the end of 2025 we'll be the largest growing economy again. So I think, you know, it's turbulent times, and we all need to take care of the economy, but I feel confident that we'll be on the right track.
Even with the signs that your economy is seeing, and I take your point around growth, but I wonder where cost of living is concerned. And I acknowledge as well your point that the Prime Minister has already said that's her #1 priority. But I have certainly read a lot and listened to a lot of people in the UK talk about their concern where the cost of living is concerned, that rate of inflation, which is now in double digits. We had a reporter from The Guardian yesterday say that there are some projections that it could reach 20%.
Yeah, well, cost of living is obviously a problem for a number of countries, not just the UK. Our inflation is high, but it's high in the rest of Europe as well. So I don't think what we're seeing is exceptional in the UK. And I think you're going to see measures really quickly from the new Prime Minister to tackle this. She said it's her top priority. She said her priority is both to help people who are facing the challenges of cost of living, but also to really kickstart the economy and drive investment into the British economy, make it a great place for people to do businesses. So that should be really positive for our economy.
That message that you're delivering, I imagine, is also being delivered diplomatically, or in diplomatic circles, I should say, in your capacity as High Commissioner. Putting aside the economy for a second and just focusing on the politics in the UK, Liz Truss is the 4th British Prime Minister in 6 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are there questions directed your way about stability? And is it difficult to I guess, assure your counterparts diplomatically that there will be stability, just given that fact?
I don't think so. I think this is a natural facet of a democracy, that there is change, that there is turnover, that people are allowed to express their views. And, you know, the Prime Minister was appointed with a majority of votes from the Conservative Party members. And so she's now Prime Minister, at least until the next election. And I think that does give people a degree of certainty. This is what democracy is about, and we should celebrate it.
If I could challenge you for a second, I take that point very clearly, and I do understand that democracy isn't just about keeping the same people in power, and I'm sure many Canadians would understand that viewpoint and be sympathetic to it. But this isn't just a few different people over a decade or over 5 years. This is 4 in 6 years. By comparison, Canada's had 1 Prime Minister in the same time. Is it that easy to reassure people to just say this is how democracy works, and should you buckle up for more of it?
Well, I'd point out that it's 4 Prime Ministers, but all from the same Conservative Party. So with a degree of continuity as well in the approach that they've taken to some of the common issues. I think this is what democracy is about, and it's good that there's somebody coming in able to bring new ideas.
How new are the ideas, and especially could I ask you as they pertain to Canada, and maybe even more specifically the potential for a free trade agreement between the UK and Canada?
Yeah, of course. Well, I think our new Prime Minister is really good news for Canada. You may have heard that she has long-standing ties with Canada. She was, in fact, in elementary school in British Columbia, in Burnaby. She spent a year here while her father was a professor at Simon Fraser University. And she talks very fondly about her memories of Canada from that time. And during her time as Foreign Secretary, she also built up an extremely good relationship with her opposite number, Foreign Minister Joly. So I think that that's based on a sense of common values, a common approach to the world, a sense of a belief in democracy. And so she believes that Canada is a natural ally and an ally of choice for the UK. As you said, she will be wanting quite quickly for us to conclude a free trade agreement with Canada. One of her previous roles was as Secretary of State for Trade, and she's maintained a keen interest in that. But we're in good shape. We've got the third round of negotiations on the free trade agreement taking place next week, the week beginning 12th of September, and we're really confident that we'll be able to put something in place there that is an ambitious free trade agreement that reflects the importance of the UK-Canada bilateral trade partnership.
Is there any change in posture? And no, I don't expect you to negotiate here on CBC, but is there any change in posture under this Prime Minister for the UK in those negotiations? Is there something significant, for example, Canadians should be aware of that might change the terms of the agreement as we understand it to be progressing now?
Well, I think it's too early to say definitively about change of terms, but I don't see any. Our previous Prime Minister was very committed to securing an ambitious free trade agreement. I know for sure that this Prime Minister is as well. So I imagine we'll see a degree of continuity in the focus in trying to get something that's high ambition, that looks at areas that the UK and Canada can do something really interesting, like digital services, for example, and that looks at making it a clean free trade agreement. I expect all of that to continue with pace and ambition.
OK, on that note, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, High Commissioner. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Vashi. Lovely to speak to you.
You as well.